going to do some building tips. And just basically things that I do and how I build. Um, and just like little gotchas and things to be aware of. And this way, I think I think it'll be helpful for the community and anyone else that wants to kind of branch off and build more custom builds. Because the blueprints are fun and they're a good way to learn. But I think when you really have fun is when you can start building things. And if you've seen my other villages, I usually build into the environment and stuff, and stuff like that. But anyway, let's start with some basics. Which first off, the main thing is that you're going to start with a foundation. Now you don't have to start with a foundation, but I think it's a good way to uh, kind of map out what you want to do. Plus, if you ever break anything, like if you accidentally hit the floor, you're covered with at least something else under it. So I usually will use this. It's a good way to plan. It's a good way to set things up. Other thing to know is that when you're building, if you are on a certain level, you can get it to go up, as you can see, like with your cursor, like where it goes. But if you want to build to the ground, you can stay at this level and then nudge it into the ground. And this is great for like mountains or like the desert spires. You can build into pretty much anything. I've built into the spires, the mountains, and also the rocks that are on the shore. If you're getting the red dots, that means that the piece that you're probably trying to build into is a breakable thing, and then you won't be able to. Any kind of thing that's like breakable won't let you build there. See, you won't be able to build into that tree. Um, Other cool little tip is if you have a shovel after you break one of these trees and it comes back and you see a little sprout, you can dig in that thing and take that out, and that will stop the tree from ever growing back. So that's a cool little tip. But so yeah, so first off, I'm just gonna do a basic. Um, I'll just do a basic thing. And here's another thing too: is I always will lock. If I'm doing the foundation, once you get a piece in, you want to lock to it, because sometimes the pieces won't be exact. Like if you just try to line it up, it's not going to be exact. You can sometimes, it might go up or down. So locking it really will help with that. And as you can see, when you hold it, you got the little dots that come up. See them? You can put the cursor on them, and that'll get it to lock where you need to be. So that's step one. So I'm going to keep this one. You know what? I'm going to go a little bit bigger just because. The other good thing about using a foundation is I feel like a lot of the pieces match the size. So when you use the squares like this, you can basically guarantee that you're going to have a decent count of dots. Also to note, if you look, the middle number, that's the length. That's the length of the piece. That's the main one. So 16, if you were to count this. Like if you look at this long one, that's also 16. So, once you have these set, next thing you do is place the floor down. Now this is another thing where blueprints will have you build the floor around the walls. And what that does is it kind of keeps the walls the same height as like interior walls. I say screw that. I just build the floor completely across the whole thing. And what's cool is, if you notice here, 16, this is the same exact size as what we were doing. So it's nighttime now, but what you want to do is line it up, and that's that. And always double check, because one little thing off now will throw everything off later. And then again, you can kind of then snap it on top. Again, I'm snapping it by using that. And there we go. I also recommend starting with corners. Corners will help you kind of help you gauge spacing, and you never want to put two walls like touching each other. You want to put a piece in between, which is this. And again, name of the game is always try to stay even numbers. I will show how some pieces will cause an uneven thing. So, start off with that. And for the most part, most of these walls will have a good amount of sizes. From the 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. And that's basically kind of all you need. Oh, there's a 16. Main thing, and I'm going to show this later on when we talk about roofs. But having a 6-piece and a 4-piece allows you to get to 10 and allows you to kind of hit all these numbers in between. Because without that 6-piece and without a 2-piece, then it's kind of tricky to hit 10. But we'll talk about that later. But so for this one, I'm going to go down to the windows. I like to use a lot of windows, so we're briefly going to just drop this. And again, you'll see the spacings is 16-piece, 16s, and you got 8, 12, and 8. 8 is the lowest it seems to go. Either way, if you get one of these 16 ones, again, pretty useful, especially on like, and then you want to, that's another reason why it's good to have the corner ones. It's easier to lock it to that when you want. And also to pay attention, those little things right there, those little ledges, you want those on the inside. That's kind of the proper way. And see what I'm talking about here? How that square piece splits that so those little pieces don't bump into each other. Because that can happen and you can kind of run into trouble. And now we see, no, this won't fit, so we will now go for a smaller one. This is 12. So something like that. And, you can put whatever windows you want, just as long as they're flipped around to the right thing. As you can see, I'll just put that. It don't matter. Same thing, I'll put a door in as well. You'll also notice with the doors, there's wider ones, there's 16 and I think 12s. Even an 8, actually. So, and it all depends on how much you want it to take up. The corner pieces are your friends. Those 2 pieces will always come in handy. They'll usually get you wherever you need to be. As long as you stay even with, even numbers. And I'll show you when that sometimes doesn't happen. And there's a couple pieces that will do that to you and kind of throw you off, which is kind of annoying. But for the most part, you're gonna hit everything. See here, and even with this at the end, it don't even matter because we can just grab one of these pieces and stick it in there. Actually, be aware this is an interior piece. I'm gonna show you the difference in a second. Those are, and also why I choose not to. Okay, so here's an exterior piece. That's too big. 4-piece will do it, and we're good to go. Now we have it, right? Now, I'll show you now what the interior pieces are. And normally, if you're doing a blueprint, these will be, it's kind of designed where the exterior walls are made without the flooring under them, and the interior pieces are put on top of the floor. Like I said, put everything on the floor, like over it. So as you can see, there's just one gap. You see that? There's one, it's shorter. That's the floor, that's basically the flooring that the game, as it was designed to do. But all I do is I just put a piece on top. you can get a, you know, any one of these, like this is, oh, maybe I made a, no. So, 12, we do have a 16. And so the length, as you can see, is this actually the other number there. So, maybe, no, that's usually what it is though. It's usually the middle number, from what I remember. Or no, maybe it is the first number. My bad. Either way, you want to keep everything even. Normally if I'm building something, you always want to probably build like some kind of stairs to get on top. See, so now as you can see, everything is even. Now, a lot of people might get ahead of themselves when they're building a second floor, and they want to, you know, they want to build like everything, like they'll build the walls first. But see, again, you want to put a level, you want to put something in between each floor. So how I usually do this is I will usually start with the biggest pieces just to cover the most. Also makes the most sense because even the biggest piece is still one granite. So the biggest piece, and when I build, I do it like this, and I'll cover the whole thing best I can. Um, and again, if you keep all the numbers pretty even, if you keep them even numbers, and you work off the foundation, you should be fine. You should be able to have most pieces fit, and like you won't have to worry. Also to note that whenever you snap a bigger piece to a smaller piece to a bigger piece, it goes directly center. So that also kind of helps when measuring things. So like here, this was a bigger piece, but now you just go to center, boom, you can plop it over. What I want to do, we're going to go this way because I want to put up some stairs. And again, you have to remember that I think it is the 8x8, this one. The 8x8 is the same width as stairs are. Also, another little thing to note is this set of stairs with the platform is more vertical, so no banisters will work on this. But so, when I plant stairs, I kind of want to make sure that it fits into this whole square type of thing. Like just like these 8x8s fit here, like all nice, like that, I want the stairs to do that. So I'll probably put the stairs right here. And if they lock this way, you can flip them and they'll usually go down and they'll go. Now if you lock them, when you lock something, it goes to the edge, like so. And that's actually not good. Because again, I mean, sometimes it is, you just gotta know this, is that since I put the floor down, these stairs are built as if, you know, there was, not a floor under it. So, what I like to do is like, well, you just have to take note of that, and then basically, it's probably better to build these stairs down instead. And if you put the cursor right there, you can kind of, you'll get it right there, and it'll bump it right. You see that? So you can use the pointer to do that. So this, and then to note that now, right now, it's hard to tell from here, but that last step is completely under the thing. So you want to bump it two more. One, oh, I think I can't actually because I'm too far. So hold on a second. Let's try this again. So we want to get this, or if we can, let's see. Now I'm bumping it. So sometimes it's a little bit of a play to get this where we want it to be, but I think it's going to end. So sometimes if that happens, you can always kind of switch it and reset it. You can actually see it better from here, I think. You can see. Okay, so there. See, now, right now it's under. 2 more. Oh, I can't? Maybe I'll have to walk a little bit over. And a lot of times this is what happens when you want to build. And sometimes, see that cursor, that little dot will push it out and it goes, well, you can also cheat it by putting it, say, screw that, I'm going to make like I'm putting it here. And this will kind of help it more. See, now we got the space, then we bump it over, and now we know we're good. And we know we're also good. The reason why it's red right now is because that wall is hitting it, but that kind of we can also use as a gauge. Put that there. Now the stairs are good. And this allows us now, with proper measurement, to now be okay with like where we put any other floor. So if we go back to putting some flooring down, again, we want a 12 piece. And again, and it's also good to also when you're putting stairs is not to put them so flush against the walls, because you're gonna run into these things a lot of the time, and they can be a pain in the butt. Obviously, ways to deal with that is if you're gonna put stairs, you can just use the other wall pieces that don't have that, which are like just these. But the biggest one, yeah, see. I'll be honest, I actually think Epic has screwed up with this, like the length and stuff. Because here, the 16 is the middle number. So you're like, okay, cool, that's 16 is the middle number. But then if you go to these, the length is the first number. That's okay, so that's good to note that I think Epic kind of screwed that one up. So yeah. Unless they're doing it's like what, like length with height or with length, who knows? Okay. So continuing on, once you have that, you can kind of like the spacing, and then everything else should be pretty good. Again, here if you want to lock it, see how it locks to the center, you can bump it over. We know that this is like that. Now this is a little tricky. I think we have a 2-piece, so we're all right. No, see, look. So this is good. This is good to know though, because what this is telling us is that what we have here is a 4 gap, and this piece is 16. So it's 17, 18, 19, 20. And so if this is a 16 piece, we would need a 4 piece. But we don't have a 4 piece. But that's okay, because we can still reach 20. So what you need to do is take, well, to make 20, you just have to look. So this is a 10 piece. So you know we can take 2 of these and we'll be alright. So let's see, we'll lock it to this. Sometimes the locking doesn't always work. There it is. Put it over. You can lock it to the edge. And look, there you go. Now you have 2 of those. And that fits. But it's important to remember that as long as you have a 2, a 4, and a 6, then you can pretty much make anything. Or a 6. Well, this gives you a 10. And again, we're going to come back around this to show you why certain pieces, with certain things and how they do that. But okay, you have the floor. We got some stairs. Pretty good. It's a little cramped, but that's just for examples. Now, what I do then after that is now I then put flooring between the walls. And again, you can just kind of go around. As long as you're keeping it even, you will be okay. In fact, sometimes I almost recommend doing this just because you'll get better at counting the lengths and seeing what they are. But as long as you keep it even, there is a way to reach that number, so you shouldn't get too worried. It's one thing I've noticed with these. And see, one of the benefits of doing it this way is that if you ever, well, actually, I'm going to show you why one of the benefits. It comes down to dealing with the roof. Because doing something like this, and generally speaking, I'm just using the castle pieces, but most of the time, all these pieces are similar. Some of them have like unique lengths, all even denominations, but some of them have like, this is yeah, this is weird. This is 6, 8, 12, 16, 6, 8, 12, 16. This has got 6, 8, 10. See, there's a 10 piece there, which is kind of important, and why you might come up to other issues with some of the other pieces. This runs the whole gamut right here. And then like you look at this one, this is the Majestic Manor. They only give you 10, 12, and 16. You know, so some of these are a little bit trickier. What are these ones? These are Shogun, 6 and 16. So you got to be a little bit more creative when it comes to like how you're placing those. But all right, so we made it around. That's it. First floor done. Now, as I said, I like to put the floor down all the way, because now you can kind of. I think it just gives you more options now. Now, if you want, you don't have to even do you don't even have to make the top floor the same. You could, but like, you could move the floor in a bit. You know? And again, I recommend if you do something like this, count the pieces. Like don't do, because this is where you can kind of screw yourself up. It's because like instead of, see how the little checkered spacings that are around it are basically, those are 2 by whatever. So it's like, that's like a long flat piece. So you don't want to go halfway in. That's going to screw things up now. I would only recommend doing that is if you do the same thing on the other side to even it out. Because right now you're going to make an odd number. That's how you get odd numbers, is by doing little movements like that. So you want to always stick to being, you know, even. There you go. Now that's 2. Now it's 2 dots in. This is 4 dots in. You know. So, for instance, I'm gonna go for the. I'll show this one like this. So we'll go. Let's see. I'm trying to think. What could we do? You know, if we go all the way in, and I count all the time. I definitely recommend counting. You can go from that, and then you just go 1, 2. You know you're good. 1, 2. Again, you're good. So we'll do one more time. 1, 2. And so now we know we're in a good spot. Whatever it is, it should be solvable. What I would do from there is, let's see. And you know, truthfully, I probably made a little bummer of a mistake myself. Because what I should do to be safe is go like this. Is I would put this in. So let's see, we'll go to the edge, right? No, here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And see, then what I would also do then is go 1, 2 and put it here. Why? Because we want to have that corner piece. That guy always just kind of helps us out when it comes to building things, giving us that little extra space. You want to have that there. Okay. Down here. Alright, we'll do a window piece. Okay. See, again, I also recommend putting this corner piece over here. And you'll see other material pieces that, like for instance this, which actually has color to actually make it a corner. So you actually, you know, put it in there and it actually, as a corner piece, helps, you know, create that white trim. So they kind of encourage you to use them, and I definitely recommend it. It just, yeah, because like if you see these, you can't really put these walls like that. You need a corner piece for these. So definitely get into the habit of dropping the corner pieces down. That's there. Put this here. And then I would even go so far as to drop this over here. See, if you lock this, that's another thing you gotta be careful of. There's a space at the bottom. So sometimes it's not always good to do that. You want to line up like that. You're gonna do that. And that's okay. Now again, I use an interior wall for this. Another thing to be aware of is that some of these walls, yeah, see this? There is an outside and inside side. Doesn't matter so much on some of these, but some of these actually stick out enough where like you can't put a piece directly next to it. Like I wouldn't even be surprised if I come put a piece next to this. Oh no, see this is okay. But some of them stick out a lot. Anyway, okay, so say you do this. I mean, you don't have to. You could use an outside wall. But I just decided to use that. Again, this can go right on top. If you count, I would probably use that. Boom. See? And it's all even. Now let's finish these walls up. And there you go. Now you have one with the little thing. Now you can obviously use a door or anything else. That kind of thing. Now as I was saying, with these you can now like have, if you have the balcony pieces, which actually well, the interesting thing is these here are used as part of the roof, but like, well, let me see something that we have here. But yet, if you're looking for the other railing type roof pieces, they stuck those all the way down here. So I don't know why they did that. These again, something if you can look at, they have an inside and outside thing. But this is something if you wanted to do. Like so. A little tricky, not all of these are perfect, so you gotta kind of use your creativity on how these are gonna look. But you know, it's something. I think that's the right way. And you can see too, like the curve of them. This seems to be okay for what we're doing here. A little tight squeeze. I probably won't normally do something this tight, but you get the idea. And again, I can even, sometimes I don't put these sometimes I don't put this corner piece because yeah, it's kind of weird. It doesn't exactly make sense. So, you know, the way these go. Yeah, like, okay, this piece here is the wrong way. So we'll switch this around. Okay. And now at this point, you can kind of maybe use this to see how this would work. But that gap is going to be too, I'm pretty sure that gap is way too small. Oddly enough. So we're probably just going to put this here. And that will give us enough space to put this guy here. And that will give us enough to put this here. Yeah, a bit lower though. Probably better if we lock it to this. Boom. And yeah, it's a little weird because of the way they've shaped them, but that would be something you could do. And it's a little off because these are smaller, but that is what it is. Now, the next thing. Oh, and before I finish, the other nifty thing about putting the floor down completely is that that then allows you to deal with the roof. And I'll show you one of the roofs on this. We're going to do a couple roofs because there are some differences that we can, I want to show.